Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a nice rack. I can get the J doubled with joint for 40. Not so good. Only the one vowel. But that one vowel is quite significant. It usually makes a difference between playing and changing. I can see I have fond on my rack, even though there's nowhere great to play that at the moment. Well, there is immediately underneath joint, beginning on this triple letter square, I have FOND, and that stays available. Fantastic. And I don't think opponent has provided anything better. So fond for 26. Quite a nice balanced rack, but I don't think there's a 7 here. 3 high-scoring tiles make it unlikely. Hypate is good, but it's a noun, not a verb. So not seeing a 7. What about an 8? The only floaters are R and L, both of which look quite handy. L always helps the Y because of the LY ending. And R also goes quite well with this set, but I'm not seeing a bingo. I do have hydrate as a non-bingo double-double. Will that remain available? Probably not, unless opponent plays in column 10. Joint only takes an S. I guess if opponent plays down from the F, hydrate might stay available. Where else is a good spot? The W goes well with the H, so I could play Y in that spot. So opponent has blocked hydrate, fortunately for only 9 points. So I do have a bit of a lead. So is there a double-double through UR? And I don't think there is. Okay, so how to sort this rack out? And do I have anything underneath fond? Well, I must have, because hay is good. And I'm just trying to find a play which doesn't have a front hook. And HAY and HEY both do. So 35 points, definitely pretty good. Is this the play? And what are the alternatives? Pay also has an S in front. Well, an E can go after ON, but not many YE plays. Okay, well, I think it's just C and S which go in front of hay, and opponent may extend the ladder. But I am going with this. Well, not a great rack. Not seeing a 7 or an 8 here. Do I have a double-double through UR? Wow, only 19 for opponent, which is great. But he's signalled that he's got a second S or a blank by playing this S so cheaply, I think. Or my play convinced him that I had an S and he felt the need to take that out. Either way, he hasn't scored many points. Fantastic. So how am I going to sort this rack out? Joy only takes an S, so not many scoring spots on the board. Maybe I should have played HEY. Well, that takes T and W. And this has flushed an S out, so I think it's okay. Is good. So I do have PEH, which gets rid of the high-scoring tiles. Retains the U, which isn't so good. And overall, that rack lead pretty ropey. Hour takes an S. I'm not seeing a double-double through UR. What about a non-double-double? Hurted, I think, is good. Well, that doesn't feel great, especially sticking a vowel under this triple letter square. What about AL? And I've got the up prefix. No, not seeing anything. Top of joy, not looking good. I've got PH, but I don't have a vowel which goes above N. What about in column 2? No, not seeing anything. I have depth. Well, this is pretty dangerous if opponents have signalled he's got an S. Too dangerous, I think. But what a shame. Well, it's not such a shame. It's only 24 points. The rack leaves rubbish. So let me come back to PEH. I've not seen anything better. Wow, Grim Rack, UV and W. I may be on the brink of changing. Lots of S spots on the board with joint and pay and ERP. I have joyed in column 8, which would have been available last turn for 32 points. Wow. But that would have retained P and H. And if I play it this turn, I'm retaining U, V and W. But over 30 points, that's half a bingo. Now, opponents played, and the joyed spot just becomes more valuable. Do I have something in row L? No, because FAP doesn't take anything. Well, I do have vowels to help the V and W. This is 37 points. I am going with this. And I add to my collection of scoring tiles. I would have buvette through a T. Pretty horrendous rack, but I have a 100-point lead. But that is going to vanish if opponent bingos. Bios is good, but I can't play off V and W. The trouble with U, V and W is that it's very hard to play all of them off in one go, so you usually have to spend several goes sorting them out, and that's why they're a pain to have on your rack. I don't have anything to hook ope. Maybe I should change retaining E and T. But is the best I can do in row G. But column 2 as a bingo lane and row N are one line inside of a triple word square lane, so they're not massively important to take out. Now opponents signal that he's got yet another S. Plays cell, blocks one of his S lanes. An E can go after cell. I'm just wondering if there's anywhere for web, and there would be in row N, but for a low score. So I have a decent lead. I think now is the time to change. B, U, V and W are all grim. And, well, that's not terrible. I do draw the Q, but everything else is good. And I have an I and an A and a T, which should assist in playing the Q. Great, only 11 points for opponent. And I can see this cat spot here, which does take out one of opponent's bingo lanes. Scores 34 points. I would also have Cade. This is going to be better. Cade here. Because it's the same score, but it's retaining the T, and the T massively helps EIOS. So, anywhere even better. Any QI spots? I would have cats and cells, but that's not better. No, I'm going with this. Wow, what a pick. I draw a blank. I have arrow ties, which plays in column 9 and column 10. Will I get my bingo down before opponent bingos? This could be significant because I have a 100-point lead. And when you get out towards 200 points or over 150, the game is massively in your favour. Great. Arrow ties remains available. Is this the best line? I think it is. I get all of the points from joint and W. No vowels next to premium squares. Opponent can't put a high scoring tile next to this double letter square. I am going with this. Great, a balanced rack and a good scoring tile in the X. And a column 8 play would take out, wow, pretty good bingo by opponent, but he still trails by 100. Can I come back with a decent X score? X can go above the eye of Stauria. I have Zurich on my rack, nowhere for that. Now, do I have anything in row N ending EX? Carex. Wow, this is going to be amazing. 64 points. Is there anything even better? No, I don't think there is. I am going with this. And pretty good again. Although quite a few scoring tiles, but the E and the I should give me options. And I now lead by 160. 29 tiles to come, including the second blank. Great. Only 30 points for opponent. Fantastic. Now, could I have a bingo here? Where would it play? Through the E or the O of arrow ties, I think. Not seeing anything. So, what can I play? I'm looking in row E and row C. Both of those are safe lanes. So, I have Vale. If opponent wants to play off 2 tiles in column 1, he's very welcome to. Nothing goes in front of LO, so nothing big is going to be in row B. Rack lead not great. Let me check the remaining vowels. 12 out of 33, vowel dry. And only 22 points for Vale. I could play Belive. This has merit. It's 26 points. It's turning over 5 tiles. It's retaining only 2 consonants. I'm not putting vowels next to premium squares. Belive doesn't take anything. V is not a useful floater. I'm not bothered about opponent bingoing once. Yeah. I like this. I am going with it. Wow, bad pick. Only 1 vowel. But 1 vowel can be all you need to keep playing. And I'm back to 3 scoring tiles, B, C and W. And in general, you're looking to play off 2 of those 3 or even all 3. That might be challenging. I have crown through the O, which preserves my vowel. And opponents played there, only 23 points. But that was the only move I'd spotted. I have WAB in column 3. Nothing goes in front of TO. Gosh, this is tough. Bun is good, but nowhere for that. Should I change? Remaining tiles, pretty good. Pretty bingo-y. Quite tempting to change. I'm just not seeing anything which turns over tiles. Nothing through I. Nothing through E. I've got a 150-point lead. I guess I have core. Well, that's the same as WAB. Let me see what this scores. 16 points, keeping CNNRU. That's close to being worthwhile. Only one N and two R's to come. Let me check the remaining vowels again. 10 out of 25. 16. I'm going to change, and I'll keep just the R. Great. That looks a lot more attractive. But is there a bingo here? I would have lagered through an E in the right spot. That doesn't work. Only 10 for opponent. Do I have anything through the I? No. Now, this is a spot I didn't consider last turn, the O of arrow ties, row E, but I don't think any of my tiles went under BE apart from N. I guess I could have played noun. Anyway, I'm looking to see if I have a bingo here. It does lagered have an anagram? Don't think it does. V, I'm not seeing anything. I, not seeing anything. Any other lanes? T in second place, not seeing anything. There's just the O, and it's quite tempting to play through that because then I'll be taking out the floaters in belive. And can I have a play starting under the I? No. So what do I have beginning G-O? Well, I guess goal. Given the vowel shortage, read is a pretty good four-letter set. I am going with this. Great, I draw the Z and I have four vowels. So I have ZE and toe, which is a decent 30-point score, and I still lead by 150. Goal only takes an S. Pay takes an S. So there are lanes on the board, just not very many, and not particularly useful ones. So what if ZE is blocked? And it's not. Fantastic. Has opponent provided something better? Alec, I think, takes a K in the S. But what about this D? Do I have a six-letter play beginning with D and using the Z? I don't. I have Azure on my rack, but nowhere for it. So again, taking into account the vowel shortage, which still exists, I can play ZE for 34. Is this really the best? Yeah, I think this is fine. Well, UW not great, but the rest of the rack is so good, there could be a bingo here. I have under as a prefix. Not seeing anywhere for that. I have Dorner in row O, which is quite nice. Big score. Only 7 tiles in the bag. And Dorner remains available. Now, 4 tiles in the bag, so this is going to empty the bag. Opponent could bingo. So is there a way for me to play 3 tiles? Or maybe I should just take the points. Opponent has probably got the blank. B, M and Y, so I'm unlikely to bingo. Opponent's unlikely to bingo unless all of those are in the bag. But either way, this is definitely going to win. Well, opponent has got M and Y, but he's also got the U, and he's got the U. So does he have a bingo? I'm not seeing one. It's not going to win him the game. It's just going to reduce the losing spread for him. So what am I going to do with this rack? I have Bedouin, but that keeps the A. So I don't think I can go out in one. Nothing onto the R, unbraid through an R. Nothing onto the E or the N. Okay, well, this is fairly academic. My lead is so large. I guess I can play in row L at the moment, exactly where opponents played. Opponent's only got 4 tiles, so he can't reach this triple word square. I've got nothing which goes after yum. I have an A, which goes in front of YE. Opponent's definitely going out with rot. I'm not going to consider where his options are. I just can tell that he's got such an amazing rack. So what do I have here? So I have nab. Can I do any better than that? And I don't need to worry about how good the rack leave is. Dab is going to be better. Do I have anything which gets the U above the M? Something A, something U? No, I'm not seeing anything, so I am going with dab. And I may be able to go out with uni if opponent doesn't go out, but surely he will. He's got sort and goals, rots and yums. Yeah. And the final score, 315 for my opponent, 475 for me, a winning margin of 160 points. So a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Massive margin of victory. And it was me to go first. I had this rack and played joint. That looks fine. Opponent's rack plays twirl, and now I have fond for 26, which looks fine. Wow, missed bingo. Satuari and Ratulias, both difficult to see. 5 vowel bingos, and opponent plays hour, so that's fortunate for me. Wow, look at this, E5. Oh, a double lane I hadn't considered. I was looking at row K, but not column 5. Well, that's remiss. I'm not sure I would have seen Hyponia. I don't think I would have been confident about it. And it still looks pretty strange, but obviously it is good. Joypad, that's nice for 38. So I play Hay for 35, definitely suboptimal. And this is where opponent plays IOs, and he does have a second S. My rack, and I play Pay for 20. Joyed was available. I hadn't spotted it at this time. And DETU, yeah, I think Joyed a better play. Gosh, I was expecting a bingo to come up, but it didn't. Opponent plays up. And now I do play Joyed for 37, which looks fine. And a ton of bingos here, and opponent doesn't play any of them. Plays Sal. So another let off for me. I have a horrible rack, but look at this, B wet, N2, and Selt. And I think this is where I change. Yeah, 28 points. UV is not worth minus 28. It's probably worth between minus 10 and minus 15. So B wet would have been better, even though it sets up an S lane. No bingo again, wow. Okay, opponent plays Gi, and now I have Cade for 34, and I have about 100-point lead. And the twirlers is the extension of twirl. Opponent doesn't play that. Opponent plays Gay, and here we go. I have an absolute ton of bingos, and Erotais for 78 scores most. But an immediate comeback from opponent with Stauria, and my lead is pegged back to 110 points. But look at this, 64-point X play. This is why the high-scoring tiles are so valuable. You can, on occasions such as this, get a score which is similar or greater than a bingo. Now, nice rack for opponent. Missed bingo, Statinka, F8 through the T. Jolly difficult to spot. And this is my rack. Opponent played ink. So I played Belive, which is the second choice down here. But Vibe, that looks even better. Oh, on to BE. Nice, I didn't consider that spot, but this rack leave of CELR, especially given the vowel shortage, is pretty handy. Opponent's rack plays off. And now this was the horror show rack. Oh, wow, look at that. Q-Beb in column 8 for 37. That would have been better than changing. And noun, that was the option I considered later. Yeah, and then the scores drop. So I change. Opponent plays Matt. Phew, no missed bingo here. Ravaged available through the V, but that's setting up a triple lane, so I don't like that. I play gold for 16, keeping a decent rack leave. And wow, another missed bingo. Opponent plays card, but a few bingos available. All of them through the E of Belive. Hazard, M9. Interesting, 38 points. I actually prefer ZE for 34. Decent rack leave and doesn't create anything for opponent. But Zia, B13, that's horrible, creating a triple lane. And opponent would have had varmints through that. And opponent does have a bingo here, a vermin through the E of Belive. Another very difficult bingo to see. He plays Haven. Oh, good grief. I have Unwarned. What a shocking miss. This would have been... Wow, I saw Dorna. I guess I just stopped looking for a bingo, but Unwarned was there. Well done if you spotted that. I played Dorna, and opponent plays Yum. No out for me. I played Dab for 23, but G1. Oh, nice. Bad, Bios, Czar and Toad for 32. So a few points dropped there. And finally, opponent has a choice of outs and goes out with Trout. So what a game. Absolutely fantastic fun. Very high scoring, 475. A lot of missed bingos, fortunately most of them by opponent, but I also had my share with Unwarned. And overall, just a fantastic game. Always great to get up towards the 500 point mark. So many thanks to my opponent for a good game. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.